Hey folks, I'm back and I want to say welcome back to Dr. Ryan Talks, welcome back to me, welcome back to you. Yeah, so some of you might have noticed that I've been away for a little while, and the long and short of it is that I've been working some ridiculous 70+ hour weeks, nights, weekends, evenings, etc. on A&E, but I've got a little bit of time off and I'm back doing what I love. So yeah. Thinking a bit more about that, I've definitely had some days off in between all of these shifts, but you know what? I just spent it recovering. I was so exhausted and drained by the long and antisocial shifts that I really did just not have the creative energy to put my time into this, unfortunately. Now don't get me wrong, I love creating content for this, so this week I thought I'd talk about something that's really important, and that's how to keep balance in your life. Now I thought this was pretty relevant because not only is it a topic which comes up on social media quite a lot, but it's also the main reason why I've not been able to keep up with this vlog right now. So I thought it would be pretty good to talk about. So some of you might have seen this before, but you may not know about it. And for those of you who haven't come across it before, I'm going to be introducing you to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So what we've got at the bottom of that triangle is your basic needs: food, water, and rest, essentially. Above that, you've got security and safety. Above that, you've got intimate relationships and friendships. Above that, you've got kind of self-esteem, the things which kind of, make you feel good about yourself. And above that, you've got self-actualization, and those are the things which mean channeling your creative energy. It means doing the things which make you fulfill your full potential. So bring this back to me. Imagine losing out on 30% of your sleep every week. So that is roughly a conservative estimate of how much sleep you lose out when you do a set of 4 night shifts. And it's basically the equivalent of pulling an all-nighter once a week, every week, essentially. And even then, that's assuming that you get a good 7 hours of sleep during the day when you're on night shifts. And for anyone who has done night shifts, they will resolutely tell you that you don't. So taking all of that into account, it's easy to see how if you're doing this and this is what's going on in your life, not only are you not hitting those upper parts of the pyramid, but you really are struggling to fulfill the very bottom if you aren't getting enough rest. Now, a lot of this ties into the importance of sleep, and I'll be covering that in a vlog in the next kind of month or so. But in the meantime, I just want to do a really quick thing about how to stay human when you've got a full-time job. So tweaks like this have done the round a few times. They always say you can choose between your social life, the gym, a fulfilling career, and sleeping enough, and you can choose 3 of those. This is obviously something that people find really difficult and struggle to kind of squeeze into the 24 hours of the day. So when you start work or a new job or something, some of these things are not going to be So when you start work or a new job or something, some of these things are not going to be in your control. So for example, if you work set hours, if you work antisocial hours, if you've got deadlines approaching, if you've got a long commute, for example, these are all things which are difficult to control. But on the other hand, there are always at least some things which you can control. So those are things like what you do during your commute, how organized you are with kind of preparing your food and meals, housework, and that kind of thing. A couple of others are, how organized you are with making plans with your friends, and how much time you spend doing things which maybe don't contribute to the fulfillment in this pyramid. So addressing these things in order, you can see that food and rest are right at the bottom of that pyramid, and that is for a reason, because if you neglect these things, then you really do undermine the foundations of everything else in your life, essentially. And what you really need to do is make sure you prioritize these, because if you do prioritize them, then it will pay dividends in the long run. Moving up the pyramid, for those of us lucky enough to live in a Western society, security and safety we can generally take for granted. But what I would put in here, in the absence of that, is health. So this is things like going to the dentist. This is things like seeing the doctor about that niggling thing which you've been neglecting for a while. It's things like, making sure you keep up with your medicines, all of these things which are really important to, I suppose, your personal safety, aka your health. And again, are really down right in the bottom of those fundamentals of prioritization. To add to that, it's easy to actively do things which can undermine that. So if you find yourself drinking larger and larger amounts during the week, you can do something about that. If you're thinking about quitting smoking, then set a date, switch to vaping. All of these things contribute to the fundamentals which keep you well. Next is intimate relationships and friends. Now you don't need to take part in every single social event that's going on, but keeping up with those friends and those family members, I suppose, who really mean something to you, who energize you, whose company you're totally comfortable with, those are the things which are going to really fulfill you regarding this part of the hierarchy of needs. So prioritize those. Higher up, you've got your self-esteem needs. So the way I would say to tackle this is set yourself some goals. Now these don't need to be career goals, they don't need to be goals that are going to make you any money, they can just be goals which are important to you. So that can be making sure you read a new book every week, it can be starting to learn a new language, it can be taking part in a sport, it can be cooking a new recipe every week, whatever you want. It can be spending time outdoors every week. It's just about prioritizing those things which are really important to you. So for those of you watching, I'll set you a challenge. Write a list of these. So starting at the bottom, look at the things which you feel are being neglected at the moment and work your way up the pyramid. Don't say no to opportunities that come up that don't necessarily fit with this, but if you invest your time and your energy in those fundamentals that are going to keep you well, then you're really building your house on solid foundations, and you'll be able to absolutely fly once you're kind of getting up to the top of that list. So that said, if you don't hear from me, or if this vlog goes a little bit quiet every once in a while, then don't worry too much. I have not left you. I'm probably just addressing my own needs. Oh no, not that. Setting myself that same challenge. So yeah, short one this week. But looking forward to sharing some really cool content about mental health, about sleep, about when doctors get sick in the next coming weeks. So yeah, check out those. Thanks, and see you next time. Wow.